Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am ZBest. This video is part of a series breaking down all of the missions in the new Sector 3 personal mission campaign. And yeah, we'll get into it. So very quickly, right at the beginning, the most important thing to do is to check which tanks work for your missions. I recommend either sorting in Garage or you can go onto tanks.gg. You can go to full list, which this is, and then you can click on roll, and then you can sort. So for Vanguard, which this video will be about, it's assault, breakthrough, and versatile. And so now you can see all the tanks that you can play to complete these missions. You can do the same thing in game. You can sort and select the ones that you want, and it'll show the tanks. Anyways, well, let's get into the breakdown. So Vanguard 1 for Windhund is cause damage by firing 7 times to enemy heavy tanks and cause 1000 hit points of damage. The key for this is you need to pen 7 shots. I recommend a tier 6 or 7 low caliber. You can use things like Churchill 7, A43. You can use M6, that's pretty high rate of fire. Things like that. You just have to remember that there's not a lot of HP, so you don't want to use too high of an alpha. That's why I recommend low caliber. The other one that is kind of a lesser thought about one is the Obsidian. This does count. I can show you real quick. It's what I used. So under these categories, assault, breakthrough, and versatile, under tier 8, which I'm not going to scroll all the way, we'll do USSR, tier 8, and right here, Obsidian. So that has a 4-second reload, and you can just farm some tier 8 heavy tanks. So that's another way to do it. So the next one, 2 times HP, basically damage caused, damage blocked. Really, that's any heavy tank. You can do this at tier 8 with some armor, so like the VK100 or the K2, because you'll block like 500 to 1000, and then you only need to do like 2000 damage, and then you've already achieved it. So you can kind of mess around with it. Honestly, any heavy tank should be able to do it. The third mission, be the top player on your team by damage caused. This one is essentially high caliber, but without the extra stipulations. Also, it does count for a loss. This is really important. A lot of times on a loss, people don't do as much damage, so you can do it with a lot less damage than on a win, typically. So basically, if your team is starting to lose really badly and just start doing lots of damage, you might be able to just knock this mission out on a loss. Really, any tank that you're good in, but the Skoda T56 is so good for these top on damage missions. Number 4 is cause 1000 HP to immobilized enemy vehicles or block 2000. This is one of those where you can either use autoloaders or super heavies or fast firing high tier tanks. Really comes down to what you're playing at the time. It's kind of hit or miss. Like you can do it in any tank really. The block 2000 you can do in high tier heavy tanks, or the damage to an immobilized enemy vehicle autoloaders just makes it really quick. One of the things that I found, and I can't confirm whether this is intended, but when I was doing them, the shot that you track with, so the first shot that you do that tracks them also counts to the total. At least that's what my experience was. On to the next one. Number 5, destroy 2 enemy mediums or heavy tanks. Really just play anything. Same with Vanguard 6, just play anything. Either do 2,500 damage to enemy vehicles or block 1,500 while you're not moving. Basically, if you're in a haul down tank, poke on a rubble pile or haul down and just stay there until you bounce the damage and then back off. But the 2,500 damage should be really easy in anything tier 8 and up. Number 7, do 3,000 HP to vehicles within view range. Really, this is just a brawling heavy or medium tank mission. Shouldn't be too difficult. Just make sure that you do enough damage to tanks that are within 445 or whatever your actual view range is. I didn't actually test that out. If your view range is under that, if you do it like 430 and your view range is 400, if it'll work. But for the most part, just go to like the city brawl or whatever and do a bunch of damage. Really any tank, but high tier will make it easier. Number 8 is the 3 vehicles of 2 different types, destroying them. Honestly, you can do this in anything, but autoloader does help. Really, there's only one line. It's the Czech heavies, so the VZ55, TNH, and these go to T56, the premium. But those also pick up kills pretty well. Or the ramming, you have to ram an enemy vehicle, destroy it, and survive. E50 and E50M are, of course, the standard for that. But if you want to just play something else and you can get 3 kills and just destroy 2 different kinds, it's pretty easy, honestly. Vanguard 9, cause 2,000 HP to enemy vehicles that hit your vehicle at least once. This, to my experience, is retroactive. You don't have to hold your shot until they shoot you. Start doing damage to a tank, and at some point, hopefully they'll look at you and shoot you. Maybe even you bait, or you straight up take an extra shot of damage specifically so you can do the mission. Like drive out with your side on a tank that you've been farming, and they were not doing anything to you because they thought they couldn't pen. Just drive out, get penned once, and maybe you've already done 1,500 damage. Pretty straightforward. Also, my understanding is ramming also counts. I personally did not test this, but someone said that it did work. So just keep that in mind. Really, brawling heavy or tank destroyer is best. High alpha, DPM, anything like that. For Vanguard 10, which is the do 1250 in the first 3 minutes, really just being something pretty fast so you can get into a good position and start doing damage. I also recommend high tier because you should be able to do that in like 2 or 3 shots, or even 1 or 2 depending on what tank you're playing. Okay, maybe not 1 for Vanguard, but in 2 pretty easily if you have a tank that's doing 750. Yeah, so Vanguard 11, this is the hardest one, in my opinion, for all of Windhund because it requires, well, I take that back. Tank Sniper is even harder, but for Windhund, Vanguard, high caliber is the hardest one because it just requires a lot more things than any of the other missions, which the most important is not to do any damage. Well, you won't do any damage, but don't shoot a teammate. If they pull in front of you and you shoot them, then you won't get high caliber, and you need, I think, 20%. So what I recommend is a tier 8 or 9. You get better matchmaking, and you should be able to pull out a high caliber. It's not any crazy sort of damage. Again, just go to T56 is probably your best bet, or one of the other Czech autoloaders, the tier 9 or 10, also pretty good for it. Now, Vanguard 12, do 3,000 to mediums and heavies, or block 2,500. You can do this either way. Both of them are pretty straightforward. Really brawling heavy or medium, you can do it. And okay, the damage is, in my mind, easier because you don't have to count on blocking the damage, but really, I believe you guys can do that pretty easily in tier 10 or 11. As for 13, this caused a lot of confusion for me. It is and. You have to do both. You have to do 1500 at less than 100 and do 1000 at more than 200 meters. So you want to be both brawling and shooting at mid to long range. 200 isn't long range. The later mission sets require to be shooting at much further range. But yeah, so basically just any brawling, heavy or medium, that falls in the categories when you dig into them. For example, on Tanks GG. Yeah, so Vanguard 14 cause damage 5 times to enemy vehicles by firing from 50 meters or less. This one you could do with a low tier quick firing tank, or the other mission is the 3500 damage. You just do that at high tier and just go for pure damage. It shouldn't be too difficult, even if you don't average that. You should be able to get it in a few battles. Now, Vanguard 15, really, this is the easiest one in my opinion. You just go tier 10 or tier 11 and just play. Like, you'll get it pretty quickly. Even if you don't normally do 4,000 damage, if you can get 4,000 damage once and block some damage, like 1,000 or 1,500, and then your tank has 2,500 hit points, all of a sudden you're basically at 8K. So the most important thing is if you're close and you still have almost all your hit points, do some quick math, but if, let's say you are at 7,000 combined on the counter and you have 2,000 hit points, just drive in, take the damage, like let the enemy team shoot you, it will count. But yeah, so hopefully this was useful to you guys. I'll have all the other ones out too. So for all the different Windhund, Dravik, and Blackrock missions, if this was useful to you guys, please like and subscribe. If you guys want to see more of my content, follow or jump into my Discord. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Reach out on Discord. And yeah, I hope this was useful, and I will see you guys around.